In 1988, Danny Axsom's study of cognitive dissonance and behavior change in psychotherapy was published. This study attempted to find out if cognitive dissonance reduction can contribute to improvements in psychotherapy. Cognitive dissonance states that when one takes on extensive effort, there is a need to justify that effort. Axsom believes that dissonance can improve the effects of psychotherapy because subjects choose to participate. Axsom created this experiment as a subsequent one to a previous study done by Axsom and his mentor Cooper in 1985. The experiment exposed overweight women to either high or low effort tasks, cognitive tasks. The results concluded that women who were put in the high effort group lost significantly more weight than those in the low effort group. These results support cognitive dissonance along with effort justification. However, the experiments had some ambiguities concerning the success of the high effort group. These ambiguities brought up doubts about whether cognitive dissonance reduction can actually help subjects improve in certain areas. Axsom, seeing these ambiguities, performed this cognitive dissonance and psychotherapy experiment to see if high anticipated effort paired with high decision freedom can lead to improvements in psychotherapy. This experiment was performed using participants and their phobia of snakes. For this experiment, there was a 2x2 factorial design. The anticipated effort group consisted of a high and low section, as did the decision freedom group. The independent variables included anticipated effort and decision freedom. Both independent variables were manipulated verbally. The high anticipated effort was done so by telling participants that the experiment was so intense that they could only perform a part of it, which was an hour. The low anticipated effort was manipulated by telling the participants that there are other studies that are more intense and take longer. However, they weren't going to do those studies, and they were instead going to do a less intense 1 hour long study. The high decision freedom was manipulated by having participants sign a waiver that allowed them at any time to drop out of the experiment. The low decision freedom was manipulated by not telling them that they have a choice, and only that they would continue on with the experiment. Axsom predicted that the dissonance theory would cause a choice by effort of interaction and a choice made effect. The interaction predicts that choice and effort will be significant. The experiment included 48 male and female undergraduate psychology students, as well as students recruited from a sign-up sheet. The subjects were given a monetary reward for participating in the experiment. The experiment was advertised as a study to help people get over their fear of snakes. The participants went through a runway approach to see how afraid of snakes they actually were. The runway approach is when they put a feared object at end of the room, and have the participants walk from the other end towards the feared object and see how close they can actually get. After the runway approach, the participants were given a booklet about a reciprocal inhibition technique, which can help stop anxiety associated with phobias. At this point, the control group was given a magazine to read. Then all of the subjects did a second runway approach, filled out a questionnaire, and were debriefed and dismissed. The dependent variables in this experiment included runway approach, actual fear of snakes, willingness of the subject to change their behavior, and measures to find out if the participants experienced dissonance and whether or not it was working. For the runway approach, the experimenters measured latency and the distance of the subject's approach behavior. The latency was measured by seeing how long the subject would stay in the room with the snake. The actual fear of snakes was measured by the reciprocal inhibition questionnaire, which also measured the subject's willingness to change their fear. The manipulation checks proved that the manipulations were in fact successful. The checks included giving the option of dropping out of the study for choice and questions about willingness to get rid of the phobia for effort. The results of this study supported dissonance theory because the high effort, high choice had the greatest improvement. The high effort, high choice for latency of approach improved, as well as the high effort, high choice group for willingness to change their behavior toward their fear. The results of this study were significant but not significant enough. The results were only marginally significant, and a replication of them would solidify confidence in their significance. One rival to dissonance theory is the self-perception theory, which states that the goal of getting over the fear is highly valued, and that is why they go through the high effort or high anticipated effort. This theory is addressed in a future study performed by Axsom.